Airsofters and car people have one thing in common, and that is we like to mod our stuff. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing to my Tokyo Marui Glock 17. Now, it shoots great, it performs great, and I really enjoy using this gun on the field. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of me using it, but be on the lookout because I will be using this gun a lot more often. And it's safe to say that I've really put it to use. Another thing, not every gun is great, and this gun definitely has one thing that bothers me, which is this little bit of resistance when you're just barely pulling the slide back. Now you can't really notice it if you vigorously rack the slide back or when you're shooting it, because the blowback action is so instant and so quick you can't really notice it. But to me, it's one of those little things that really bothers me. And I don't know about anybody else that's owned a Tokyo Marui or a TM clone, but this happened to me about 3 or 4 times, I can't remember, but it's definitely more than once. Whenever I put in a loaded mag and the slide is locked, I slam the mag in and I press the slide lock down. There were some times where the slide would get stuck like this. Now, it's not a problem, it's not broken, but I just have to slam the slide forward so it fully cycles. Now, it's kind of a headache because when you're ready to shoot and you aim up and you pull the trigger, you won't get anything out of it, and that's when you realize, oh wait, it's not fully cycled, so you have to slam it forward and then pull the trigger. And plus, this gun looks kind of bland and basic, and I think it's time to change the looks of it. I got some upgrade parts beside me. For the most part, they're for ergonomics, they make it more user-friendly. One is to make it look nicer, one is an actual upgrade part in terms of quality, and the other is an upgrade hammer itself. Starting with the mod that came with the gun, and that is night sights. Now, these aren't fancy like tritium or anything like that, but it's pretty cool that Tokyo Marui included these, and plus, I don't have to spend any extra money on different sights. Then move on to some other parts that are pretty basic, like magwell, extended mag release, and extended slide lock. Then we move on to actual upgrade parts that are a little bit difficult to install. One of them being the steel valve knocker. I did some research and I found out that the stock valve knocker is prone to breaking, and so I got this one to replace it. However, I'm going to hold off on it because this gun is still pretty new, so I want to get some use out of it before the stock valve knocker breaks. That way when it breaks, I have this one and I can just replace it right away. Lastly, the upgraded hammer itself. Now there's a big difference between this one and the factory one. This one, made by Guns Modify. The silver part at the top, I'm not too sure what it's called, but it moves back and forth according to the slide motion, and you can see there's a little flat end and the curved end. Compared to the factory one, it's all rounded, and that little hump, as you can see when the hammer is engaged, that is a little hump that the blowback housing rubs onto and creating that little resistance. This one pretty much cancels it, and whenever it's engaged, it shows it's flat and there's nothing sticking out. Now that we've gone over everything, now comes a fun part where we take this gun apart. But I'm going to start off with the most simple upgrades like the magwell, the extended mag release, night sights, and the extended slide lock. And then I'm going to work my way into the most intricate parts like the hammer, and like I said, I'm going to hold off on the steel valve knocker. So I'm going to get myself a pair of gloves. Now let's get to it. I just finished upgrading my Tokyo Marui Glock 17, and just a couple things I want to say about the hammer. One, it is very difficult to install because originally I had the upgraded spring in there, and the hammer came with an upgraded spring, and as I was trying to install it and put the pin through the holes, it kept popping out of place and everything kept falling apart. So I just stuck with the stock factory hammer spring. In fact, you could see that the aftermarket spring is in here along with the stock hammer. So I figured it would be a lot easier to install, and it still worked just fine. But other than that, it looks a lot beefier, especially with this mag well here. A lot of people don't like the looks of a mag well on a Glock, but honestly, I like the looks of it. The sights, a lot thicker than the factory ones, and last but not least, it's a lot more user-friendly. I could easily reach the mag release and the slide lock just fine. And to top it off, I'm gonna attach my TLR on the front, and I'm gonna get my spare mag. This came from a Glock 17 custom. It comes with this extended base plate, so I'm gonna slap it in, and you can see it looks good. I know for a fact that with the upgraded hammer, it no longer has that resistance compared to the stock hammer, but I loaded this up with some green gas, not all the way, just a little bit. I'm gonna see what the difference is between shooting with the upgraded hammer compared to the factory hammer. Here we go. Ooh, that's a lot snappier than the factory one. Wow. And even slamming the slide forward is a lot smoother. Oh man. While the hammer was difficult to install, it was definitely worth the upgrade. So, that is it for tonight. Thanks for watching. If you're subscribed, thanks. If you're not, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. And take care, everyone. I'll catch you on the flip side.